notice it when you were alive? Did you ever talk to anybody? Good evening. When you're alive, do you ever talk to anybody? That's called frustration at not getting EVP. So, welcome to the first episode of what it looks like, just another paranormal broadcast, podcast, show, just what the world needed. One more of these things. So, for the next hour or however long your tolerance and our tolerance is, we're going to be here with you just covering a myriad of different topics, entertaining your comments, experiences, and questions in chat. And I see some people are actually here tonight, followed us. Thank you very much for doing this. Let's take a roll call. We've got Joseph is here. We've got Lori is here. We've got Melissa here. Android is here. Jonathan's here.
The usual suspects.
What else we got? We got Sarah. Shelley Cooper. Hey, what a treat. We just got started.
Yeah.
Save all your comments and applause for the end. So I'm joined tonight.
Adam actually put up Adam is here in chat.
Adam is here. Okay. Donna Willis says hello. All right, I'm joined tonight on this initial broadcast by my Sunday night co-host, George Lopez, by Erin Bush, the estimable Erin Bush, and, of course, Rise Up videographer extraordinaire, Julie DeMay. So we're going to be doing a little bit of everything tonight. And, again, we're going to answer your questions, comments, or if you have an experience that you want to share with us. Sarah Yusuf says Sunday on a Thursday. It's hard to tell. You reach a certain age and all the days just combine.
Yes, Sarah. Your Monday starts Friday.
Exactly. So Kelly is here.
I don't know what planet I'm on, so I don't know what day it is either.
Yeah, we'll try to get all of you folks in there because we appreciate you coming up. There's Sarah, and there's the lovely Kelly. And Joseph is your concierge tonight. He's greeting everyone in chat, so he'll be welcoming you tonight. So where to get started? Let's do this. First of all, we want to hear from Erin because an adventure is coming to an end here. We'll switch her off here. So, Erin, tell us a little bit about where you are right now and what's going on up there and how is your dream coming to an end right now?
God.
I am sitting in a, wow, that's a big picture of my face. Whoa. I am sitting in a vintage camper about 30 feet from the Conjuring house. I've been up here 18 days, I think now. And it's been unbelievable. Done a lot of work, gotten dirty, sweaty, and just had an absolute blast. You know, had a lot of experiences. I spent 6 nights camping out in the lower field. Look at you. Sorry, George. You can beat me up when I get back to Florida in a couple days. But it's really been an incredible experience. I'm very lucky to have had this opportunity, and just hope that I've done the place and the people proud. And I'm looking forward to coming back for Ocean State Paracon because I'm probably going to cry when I leave tomorrow on my way to Ken and Dawn's for breakfast. But it's been awesome. It's really been amazing.
We're not doing it right because there's got to be some type of wormhole at that farmhouse that you could jump through and get down to St. Augustine.
God, that'd be
Have you
awesome.
looked everywhere?
I've looked. None of the portals take me there, unfortunately.
Hey,
so,
Erin, let me
18
ask
hours
you,
on the road.
Have you ever been to or stayed at John Zaffis's house?
I have been to John Zaffis's house. I spent 4 hours there last summer. I didn't stay at the house, but we went up. We did spend some time there last year.
I don't even have that over you. I don't even have that over you.
Sweet.
Listen,
so
man.
what is what's the behind the scenes thing there like? What's you got to tell us some goofy stuff or some weird stuff or give us some stuff tonight. What's going on at the farmhouse?
Trespassing is a constant battle. Y'all know that already. Those of you who have been here, we are constantly running people off this property. Thank God for walkie-talkies so that we can, somebody can run out and head people off in the pass. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, but we drove all the way from insert state here. So that's one thing. I mean, you basically could have a full-time security guard here. It just is all the time. But it's like a well-oiled machine. I mean, they, every morning, they get up, clean the house, get everything straight, get the waivers together. Just do kind of a check to make sure everything's all set up and square. Camping's kind of the same way, get the tents cleaned up, check people in, do a tour, which was scary because I hate public speaking. These are one thing, but talking in front of a group of people is absolutely terrifying to me. So if there's any negative reviews coming their way, that's probably my fault, just from nerves. But there's a lot to do here. I mean, it is a 300-year-old farmhouse, and there's, a lot to manage to make it look presentable and clean. And everybody here just does a really amazing job stepping in, helping where they can, and working really well as a team. And I learned a lot the last 2 weeks. So
I mean, you're like a paranormal roadie up there, basically.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think for funny stuff, we have a lot of fun with the walkie-talkies, as one can imagine. You get a bunch of people who are, I'm in my 40s, but who doesn't love playing with walkie-talkies all the time? So that's been kind of fun to just go back and forth with that.
I'm going to give you a gift. And with this gift, you present to Jacqueline, and Jacqueline may actually, at that point in time, make you a partner at the farmhouse, make you an administrative director at the farmhouse. But you got all these people coming in saying, I drove all the way from insert state here. Mm-hmm. She needs a ticket gate at the front like Disney World. And leaving a lot of amount of spaces open every day. Say 8, you have 8 trespassers every day. Sure, you want to come in, it's $25 to $250, depending upon what it is that you want to do.
The problem is the tours are booked every day, like a week or two out. And, so I understand, people want to come in and see it, but there's limited parking, as y'all know. There's only, we have one tour come in, and then we got to get them out for the next tour to come in. I mean, there's only about 11 spaces for guests on the property. Plus, there's construction going on because they're restoring the barn.
There's
but
just
it is
11 spaces. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some in front of the house, directly in front of the house, but that's mostly for staff, so that gets eaten up by us pretty quick. We had to, for the movie night. The 2 movie nights for the 10-year anniversary last week, we were double stacking cars just to fit everybody in. So parking is a real battle. And people don't realize that barn is no more than, would you say, 10 feet, 15 feet at max from the road. And it's a main drag. I mean, as far as Rhode Island roads go, it's busy and it's curvy. And, you'd have people backed up for miles. Yeah, we tried to head them off at the pass, but
we've got wildly different definitions of main drags in Rhode Island.
Well, I mean, as far as like around here, I guess, it's
more than 10
Round Top Road is
15 minutes. It's a main drag. You are sitting, Julie knows this too. You're sitting in a trailer that looks like a mobile home. It's about 70 feet long. And it's anchored on the property now. And it's straight out of the 1970s.
1958, in fact.
1958. And when we went in there the first time, we ran into Tommy Chong, who was just sitting in the back with no idea where he was at that point. We had to steer him in the right direction. But he said he drove.
He's still here.
He drove all the way from Oregon. Well, that's tough. You're just going to have to turn around. I envision George cobbling it together, driving up there and being turned away, telling somebody like,
not a chance.
Hey, I drove all the way from West Palm. Oh, well, too bad. Then my phone immediately rings.
Not a chance.
It's all right. I know a guy.
Yeah.
I will bulldoze through whatever blockade to get in there. It's not going to happen.
You're not going to make it past the gate. Trust me.
Even if I'm arrested right afterwards, I'm going to say I have been to the Conjuring House.
Hey,
I stood outside the gate.
you join a long and distinguished line of people who have spent the night in the Burrowville jail.
Yeah.
You know, what can I tell
Or
you?
at the Dunkin' Donuts 3 miles down the road.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
building up, Ken. I'm
This-
not sure. The questions are building up in the chat. I know there was one for Aaron there about what's the scariest location on the farm and what is the most peaceful location on the farm.
Scariest location to me is that run in the cellar. It's about the only place that makes me really, really uncomfortable, and I won't walk it alone. I find the most peaceful spot down in the lower field or down by the bridge. I mean, the first night of camping was slightly terrifying because it was a crazy storm, and I kind of had a second of like, oh God, what have I done? Because Corey Heinzen's like, okay, I'm going back to the house. And I'm like, what? Don't leave me here.
Yeah,
But then I had some...
run down to the basement right now. We'll wait. We want to get.
I would if they had. They have an overnight tonight. Yeah, they've got people here. Otherwise, I would.
Let's get to Jules here. Jules, we're all excited. There's a lot of stuff going on. Let me get this out of the way real quick, because coming up in just a little more than a month, maybe about 6 weeks now, we have the Ocean State Paracon. You've heard us talk about it on Dead Air, September 9th and 10th, 2023, at the Assembly Theater in Harrisville. Tours are going to be offered of the Conjuring House. Saturday night, we'll be showing the movie The Conjuring in the theater. Sunday night was an investigation plan that sold out. So we'll see what the future holds for us. And I also want to put up a poster of our friend Michelle Roos, who will be joining us there. And all proceeds will benefit the Tomorrow Fund, who basically helps families that are going through cancer treatments. They take care of some bills, take care of some utilities, and just generally help them out. So we'll be telling you more about that as time goes on. If you are interested in advance tickets, at the bottom of your screen on the scroll, you can get them at riseupparanormal.com/paracon.htm. Beat the lines. All you got to do is like a will call window. Step up to the admissions, elbow your way to the front, say, excuse me, I have advance tickets. Ken is expecting me. And you can just go to the front of the line and just give everybody the bird as you walk in. All right, so back to Julie. We got a lot of things going on. Got another investigation I need to tell you about a little bit later. That's been confirmed. The owner of the property said, good luck getting any information on this whatsoever. The house is on the National Register of Historic Places. It has a title to it. I think it's the Captain Collins house or something like that. Good luck. I'll be very impressed. I got a hold of Chris Blanchett last night, and I got a volume of information. I just said, let's just let our guy take a shot at it. Well, good luck with that. No. Here, just let our guy, I don't know how he does it, let our guy take a shot on it. But we've been at the Pain House. We're heading to Masonic Lodges. We've got a lot of stuff going on for Rise Up and some things on the back burner. I'm going to let you talk about that right now, because people start to think we just do a show and we're tour guides and we put on charitable events and we do all of those things, but we're also investigators too. So tell them what's going on to the best of your knowledge, Jewel, because I can't keep it straight either.
What?
I'm throwing you under the bus right now.
Can you be a little more specific?
I think we were going to go there. Well, we've got a Masonic Lodge, but I mentioned that.
Yep.
We've got a case coming up. I mentioned that. We're trying to organize a trip. You can start there to Vermont.
Yeah, we always have a lot of things going on. That's just how our group is. We've been very fortunate to go into a lot of places, and we're hoping to get up to was it Wilson Castle in Vermont? That looks pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We we've been to a lot of places, and hopefully to go back to a lot of places. And um, I'm hoping to reach out to places we haven't been to in over 10 years. Now, keep in mind, some of us people in Rise Up are older and have been with this group for a very long time. Some of us are almost 60
What
years
is that
old.
supposed to mean?
It means we have a lot of experience.
Thank you.
So we have a
Thank you.
lot of knowledge, and actually the intro with all the pictures, those go back over 10, 12, 13 years. Those are early pictures of Rise Up, whether it be at Belcourt Castle, Rose Island, Fort Mifflin, uh, Rolling Hills. We have been to a ton of places, and we're fortunate enough to be in New England where there's lots of places still to go to. I mean, just going to Shanley just a month or so ago, that was absolutely amazing. And we have a lot going on, and we're continuing to do our paranormal. Our mission, our purpose has not changed. We're not out trying to get how many likes on Facebook we can get, or how many cemeteries we're going to over the weekend. Our thing is to do legitimate paranormal cases, gather tons of data. I've got 9 cameras, high definition, 4K, GoPro, FLIR. It's to capture data and to find things. That's really our mission, and we love history. I wanted to be an archaeologist. I wanted to go to Egypt when I was in high school, and I realized computers paid a little more money than going to Egypt, a little safer too. So, it was one of those things where, we love what we do. We love history. We love investigating, and I do IT for a job. To get away from reality is the best thing in the world. I need to get away from sitting in front of a computer all day and fighting with people. So
It's our reality.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we're going to work on a battleship and a Victorian mansion.
Yes.
Nice.
Yep. Lots of places to go to, and this sort of leads to our live events. We're really getting on a roll on our live events. We have a lot of fun doing them. But one thing we've done, if you notice, these live events, we've already been to the place once. So the thing other than Shanley, I had been there earlier, but everybody else has been to all these other investigations as a group. We already have evidence. So we can throw evidence in while we're setting up between scenes, or maybe, introducing the next scene with, this is the evidence we caught. It matches up to historical information. Our historian Chris Blanchett might show, but the live shows, I think, are our favorite thing to do, and probably the most challenging and the most fun. Shanley was an example. I was afraid we weren't going to have a big enough vehicle with all my equipment and everybody, and who was going to have to sit on the roof if we had to do a trade-off of, cameras or a person.
Well, the thing is, we have a bunch of 4K cameras now, so we need to hire a makeup artist. Because you yourself said we have more experienced people, I'll go with that. But, the wrinkles and the bags under the eyes and things like that, so.
Well, you just don't do the close-up shots. And I've got the hair coloring. No one sees my gray hair. So we're good.
High definition wasn't good enough. We got to go 4K.
That's right. Yep. And I just quadrupled my external hard drive sizes because they're massive files, but they're worth every penny. So
if you're lucky to join us on one of our public investigations, you might walk away with a 3D video of your night there if you play your cards right.
360 video.
Yeah, I tell people this all the time, that when we bring Cody and Satori with us, they're remarkable. I mean, let's just put that aside. We know that. But we always have recorders and logging data, cameras, environmental readings, stuff like that. And before I actually, surprise, I get a couple of clips that I'm going to play for everybody, see what you think. But I have a question for the three of you and everybody in chat. Did anybody take the time to watch the UFO hearings yesterday before Congress?
I had to work. Sorry.
I've learned that UFOs exist, and I need to get a top secret security clearance to actually get any information past that point in time. And that may still not work out. According to some of the congressmen, they couldn't even get into the skiff.
Can you tell? Okay, and that's the thing. We need a skiff.
That's it.
Okay.
I have no idea what that's an acronym for.
I know what it is. That's my job, but I won't say
24 in chat right now, so it's not going to work. Actually, tomorrow night at 10 p.m., I'm going to be joining Andrea Perrin right here on Dead Air Full Spectrum for a World Awakening, and we're going to discuss the hearings. And
good.
I fully intend to probably be a little irritant to her. I've got maybe a little different perspective on this, but I felt, and I'm not going to give anything away because we got a show to do. I felt as though those hearings weren't for someone like me or Andrea Perrin or anybody who's immersed in the UFO phenomena. It really wasn't for us.
No.
It was for people who just went like, what, huh? They did what?
Right.
They have what? They I don't think it was designed for folks like us.
No, by no means. Even some of the after press conferences where they brought up some of the reporters, are you worried that if you present this information that there will be panic
Satori
in society?
did.
Okay.
Satori
well, yeah, she's in college, so it's going to be a topic.
She's going to do a thesis on it.
But I would have to say, Ken, realistically, again, I agree with you. I agree with you 1,000%. This was a dog and pony show. This was simply to appease those people who have cried out and said disclosure, and we want to know, and they said, oh, we can't. Stuff going on, but we can't talk about it. So, really, we haven't moved the benchmark very far. Nor do I expect we will.
No.
And I'm going to save some of the ammunition for tomorrow night, so we're not redundant on it. Tune in, 10 o'clock, right here, Dead Air Full Spectrum, A World Awakening, and we're going to review these things. But
That's
how many
gonna
people
be
out there? How many people? Who in chat other than Satori? Anybody got a thought on this before we move on?
There was a couple said they saw it too, but I would have to say, Ken, that tomorrow night the dialogue between you and Andrea should be entertaining,
lively,
explosive.
Yes. I come to these things sometimes, and I understand. Listen, I'm open-minded. I have had a myriad of experiences. But sometimes people do look at me like I just peed on their floor when I tell them, well, here's what I think. So, I don't know. I know I'm stepping into the ring with a different viewpoint on this, and it should be interesting. 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Be there. Everyone. It's a crossover.
Yep.
What do they call them? Crossovers on TV. Yeah, that's happening. Something for all of you to chew at. And if you want to weigh in on the whole UFO thing, feel free. We're here for a while. I got a little something for you, and this is from the Payne House. And you've heard us talk about it here ad nauseum for years now. But we're still there, and we're still doing investigations. And something really cool and remarkable happened on the last 2 consecutive nights we've been there, because my favorite thing is when the guests share our experiences in real time. And you see the looks on people's faces because they don't know what to expect. And in the month of June, you had a couple up there in the attic. Now, there's a little girl. Her name is Clara. She's 4 years old. We have all this information on her. So they were up there and out loud, disembodied voice, technical term for it. We recorded or actually they recorded, which I'm really happy about, this next clip.
You like company?
What was that? You heard that too?
I heard that.
Yeah. Mark audio? What is it? Oh, it's IPL.
What was he saying at the
All
end?
the hairs.
He said, "Oh, that's a vehicle." He was wrong. That was not
Oh,
a
no.
vehicle.
No, there was, yeah. I mean, there's always traffic going
Yeah,
by.
there's a main road there too.
Yeah. So that's really cool when people come in and have their own experiences. I was nowhere in the room, or I was somewhere else. Someone else, I think Mark Purcell from our gang was up there with them, and pretty remarkable stuff. They sent me this clip. Okay, this is not something we reviewed. They got it on their own recorder. They came equipped. They were packing. They had recorders and meters and different things like that. So they picked that up and sent it to me. Now, 2 weeks ago, for our July event, we caught what can only be described as probably the cutest thing we've ever heard. And once again, this is our little girl, Clara Stone, and had conversations with the entire family by the good graces of Cody and Satori, and there's, a lot to talk about with that. But in the middle of a session, Mark had put one of those proximity sensor dogs down, and I was simply asking, I think it was on the table, and I said, do you want us to put it on a chair so you can reach it easier? So that's the context of all this. And this got caught, Julie, I got to say, on 5 different recorders, at least.
Cameras, yeah.
At least, including the woman's cell phone that she had set to a recorder. You want to hear something just absolutely adorable? Here you go.
Go over and play with that. Can you reach that? Do you want us to put it on a chair? It'd be easier. All right. If you can.
What is that? Can you say something? Well, Mark audio.
Yeah, that was a high-pitched voice.
That wasn't you going.
In your stomach?
I heard. No,
Oh my God.
that sounded like a little girl.
I heard that.
Cutest thing ever.
Right? 4 years old. Yes, please.
Yes,
I mean-
please.
It was funny because we all thought the guests were talking amongst themselves, and then we're realizing they're like, "No, that wasn't us." And
I
That's
did too.
amazing.
It was cool,
I did
clear
too.
as day.
If anybody would like to sing it out, I will play particularly that one for you again. Anybody want to hear that again? Chatsters,
Yes,
dead airheads,
please.
one more time. Yes, please.
Yes,
I'd-
please.
I'd like you, Ken and Julie, to answer a question for me. Do you feel that the consistency of Rise of Paranormal appearing there, that the dialogues that you have established with and without Cody and Satori have given them or enabled them more opportunities to communicate in various ways? Has it always been this active, or have you seen some sort of a rise?
It's better.
A lot of this directly probably has to do more with me. So I think Julie would be a little bit more objective on this. Jules, tell them how it is.
No, I mean, I've been to Pain since day one, the first day we were there back, in 2009 or 10. So I think what we've seen probably, at least this year, is very, very impressive. I think Cody and Satori, have opened some doors, some dialogue. And I think the other side's, I don't know, it seems to be more engaged to get the yes, please. And we've heard that voice before over the years. But that was unbelievable. And we just stared at each other. So I think I'm more looking forward to going to the rest of the Pain investigations, because so far the first couple have been pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm expecting continued communications improved.
Well, for 2 straight sessions, 2 straight nights we've been there, we have heard this little girl. It's the same voice. We've heard this little girl out loud. So I can't speak to whether she knows what she's capable of or what she's doing. We certainly try to let her know. And we also thanked her parents, too, for raising such a sweet, polite little girl. Um, but to your question, George, there's no question about that. I think that's true in any case, whether it's Curse City for you, Pain House for us, Conjuring House for Erin. If you are a consistent presence at a place and you're going about it the right way, you're watching your P's and Q's, you're saying the right things, you're doing the right things, you're going to use the R word here, respectful. I think you develop a relationship with the people there because of your intentions. It's like, no, I mean, if they're jackasses, it doesn't matter. But if they are decent people in life who carried that character over to the other side, I think that once they see it's like, hey, they don't mean us any harm. They just want to talk. Sometimes, they're doing things to help us. So absolutely, you have that. I mean, I wish it was more, consistent. We could sit there and have an hour conversation. But we've done that with Cody and Satori, and Julie makes a great point. Because of those conversations, they are now clearly aware that we know that they can hear us. And under those circumstances, we can have conversations with them. So I think, like we say how thrilled we are. Can you imagine how thrilled they are when they're tapping out things? And it's like,
Well, that's what I was getting to is the fact that you have visitors come in with you guys. You have a live investigation with groups, with guests, and they are capturing the evidence on their equipment as well. So it may not simply fall under the category of symbiosis, but it certainly is the starting point. The way that Rise of Paranormal has created and kept that dialogue going for all these years have given them more of a voice. And regardless of whether or not a Ken DeCosta or Julie DeMay or a Cody and Satori are present, these spirits are now more able, more apt to communicate than they were in the past. Whichever the reasoning behind it, it certainly exists now more. It's obvious in those recordings.
but I can just imagine if this continues, where not consistently, but at some point we hear this voice in the room. I thought it was a woman sitting over in the corner because it came from that direction. I thought she was saying something like, "Oh, because I wanted to move the dog. Isn't that sweet?" And then she's like, "I didn't say anything." And Julie's got like three cameras at different, and we're looking at the woman. Mouth never moves. Nobody's. Yeah. That's the advantage of putting multiple cameras in there, just to because we've heard voices, and then somebody's mouth is moving. Okay, we've got to throw that out.
Yeah.
Right. I have a story I can tie in with this when you're ready.
From my perspective, and this comes from conversations like with Cody and Satori there, that Clara loves Ken. Clara trusts Ken. That's not coming from me. That's no pat on the back to me. I mean, I've been here for 11 years, along with a lot of other people from the group like Julie. But it's, the approach that we've always taken. So how can you not, speaking for myself, have like an affinity for the place and those people? Because the family's together, they're happy. It's just kind of like, that's kind of like what we're looking for. Are you all together again? Are you happy? Yeah, we just come when you guys are around. When you call us, we show up. Shoot the breeze with you for a little while. Answer your stupid questions about what we cooked for Christmas dinner and all the rest of that stuff. So they're very tolerant of us, Yeah. But again, I go back to imagine you're on the other side and you're like, what? You can hear us? Well, I've been sitting around here for 200 years. I have a lot to say, buddy. And I'm going to say it.
I was going to say, to your point about connections with places. I mean, since my first visit last summer, I talked to the spirits here pretty regularly, and I was talking to them a lot leading up to this trip, because I am fully a believer in setting your intention and letting them know what you're doing. Like, I went so far as to tell them what crystals I was bringing and why. But one of the big things I was telling them about is because Bernie, bless his heart, my dog has had such a hard time up here, because he's out of his routine. The energy's insane. There's been a ton of people. There's a ton of spirits. And I just had asked them before I went on the trip, like, if you guys can help him sort of assimilate, just kind of help us navigate this. And so I was in here the other day, and there's been a lot of banging in the camper when I'm in here. And I got a big bang. So I grabbed my pendulum, pulled it out, and it was John and Abigail Arnold. And they spelled out, "Everyone wants to help Bernie." So they are fully aware of what we're doing, what we're needing, and willing to help, like to come through enough and say, "Hey, we really want to help your dog out." I think in their effort to help him, he's probably a little bit more nervous, but to know that they're willing to like go that extra mile, but that's because we've talked to them, and so you're like respectful and being clear with them about what you're doing here and why. And, I think when you go to a place like Pain House or a place like the Coffee House or, wherever it is that you go, I think a lot of these places match energy. That was something Jacqueline said that really made sense to me, is that they match energy. The kids have arrived. And I thought that was sweet. You know what I mean? He didn't even bark, did he?
Oh, jeez.
Put my earbuds out and let the cool kids in. Just turn these off.
Yeah, we were just talking about you.
Literally.
Nice.
We're hanging out by you.
This has been like this all weekend. We're like, no, you.
Oh, yeah.
Tori's telling me I have to sit in the chair.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I think one of the things I want to get, there was a video making the rounds this week on Facebook. I don't know if you saw it, but it was taken for 2 or 3 years ago with a bunch of clowns. I'm being kind. A bunch of clowns who were in the Conjuring house, running around, being chased by a demon. They were trying to escape. Took a couple of chairs out as they turned the corner into the kitchen, and people didn't deal with that very well. So that place, if you haven't been there yet, has taken such a 180-degree turn into reality, the reality of it. But the thing that frustrates everybody is there's enough going on there now without the theatrics and the dramatics, because they're all, let's face it, they're all little horror movies. Everybody's making little horror movies, and that's fine. Go to film school. You can make real ones. James Wan made one, made $500 million. So you guys know better than anybody the kind of things that go on there, because I hear stories, and I'm not going to jump into it when you guys are prepared to tell people, whether it's on a tour or whatever. That's up to you. But I've heard more stories, things that happened last week, 2 months ago. There's always this constant thing where you don't have to live off the things that happened, merely to the parents 45 years ago, but I just have a real problem with people making these kind of videos. And I can understand, the TikTok things where I don't have a problem with that. But my biggest problem is real, live, living people's characters get smeared, right? They're witches. They're just like, wait, my God, these could have been the most beautiful people in the world. But this is how they carry forth, right. And we've been there and done that before. You guys can weigh in. People in chat, you can weigh in. But I just had to get down off this soapbox here a little bit.
Yeah,
But
I agree with
no,
you.
those things piss me off. They do, Cody. You know how much they piss me off.
Yeah, yeah, I know, and it pisses off Jacqueline too, as well, which is why she's implemented um, this strict social media agreement now that you have to follow our rules. You can't fake anything at the house because we have cameras in every single room, and if we catch you doing it, you're being thrown off the property immediately. Every video that's made. We have to look through it to make sure they're not giving out any false information now or anything like that. So it's a very strict process to get a video out of this house now, which is great. I mean, I commend Jacqueline for taking the steps to do that, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. I have another request here. And before we got into that, I will play that clip again from Clara because few people are asking for it again. Let's do that one more time for those folks.
Go over and play with that. Can you reach that? Do you want us to put it on a chair? It'd be easier. All right. If you
What
can.
was that? Somebody say something? Well, Mark audio.
Yeah, that was a high-pitched voice.
That wasn't you going.
In your stomach? I heard. No.
Oh my
No,
God.
that sounded like a little girl.
I heard that.
Oh.
Ken, towards the end of that, it sounds like the same little girl saying "woof woof." Also, play it again. You'll hear a woof woof.
Well, that's one that we I probably wouldn't give that much credence to because at that time, if this was a rise up investigation, you would not hear, oh, what was that? I heard that. I heard that. You wouldn't be hearing that. It was a lot of the guests, and I understand their excitement, a little bit from us too, trying to figure it out. But with that many voices, I mean, I'll definitely hit it again, George, and see. But you know how it is. When you've got four people talking and you think you hear somebody, you kind of tend to dismiss it a little bit, maybe more than you should. But
Sure.
You guys have heard that, and Cody and Story very familiar with we call her our little girl there. How adorable, how sweet, how polite. Oh my God, we tripped over ourselves thanking Sarah and William for raising such a sweet little girl. Yes, please.
Yes,
That's
please.
great. That's awesome.
Mhm.
That is very cute.
Yeah. You can't get 4-year-olds today. You know, 4-year-old today. Do you want me to move it? I don't care. Do it. I don't.
So Ken, I have a question for you. That way back when, probably 7, 8 years ago, when you saw the little girl walk across the hallway, you believe that was Clara at Paint House?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Michelle. Michelle's here from Iowa. Iowa. She's here from Iowa.
Ken, did you hear the question?
No.
Did I what? No, I was
Here's the question.
I was busy with Michelle.
I know.
Go ahead.
You don't multitask well.
Squirrel.
It's the age thing.
The answer is yes.
Okay. Remember years ago when you were quite distraught after seeing something float across the hallway at Paint House? Do you think that was Clara?
I don't know. Because there was no acknowledgement. There was no interaction. Do you guys think that a spirit, individual spirit, can be intelligent and residual at the same time?
Yes.
I
believe
think that.
so.
I think that, and I think that, yeah, spirit could be living with its residual energy also, like after living in the same setting as its residual energy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what leaves that door open for me, Julie. You know, where we could have seen her energy in a repetitive thing, but then we meet the real person. So
Let me ask you this: what did you see that day? Because after you saw whatever, you came outside and you looked a little even more frazzled than after the first time you saw Cody and Satori do their thing.
yeah, things are running through your head like there was nobody around. there was more the shock of it than anything, because we'd have been there a while and we never saw anything like that. So that was a whole new phenomenon. So if it's like, this is like the next level of stuff.
Right.
And the other thing that got me was just to compose myself, because immediately it's like, there's a child walking around in here. Oh my God. Is she with her parents? Is she lost? I mean, you saw the show that we did. And I said that exact thing on my ghost story. Is she lost? Is she? So immediately you feel empathy for this child, which meant a lot to me to find out they're all together. But it was just process thing, because at first I was like, why me? And then you think about it and it's like, why not me? It wasn't me, somebody else, but
you saw a girl in a white dress, correct? Float across the hallway.
Yeah, Android. I still didn't answer the question. Android, was this an interrogation? Am I under subpoena? Sound like a congressman. Ken still didn't answer the question. Okay, I'll answer the question. As I'm sitting in the chair, I see just a silhouette go by the door, like a profile from the side, and you can see the lips, nose, chin, and just literally floated across the hallway. We checked the camera that we had there, time synced it. At the same time, the camera picks up this pulsing ball of energy, same height, going in the same direction. So, to me, it was projected to be a human being, a little human being. To the camera, picked up energy. I looked into it, and it's not an unusual thing.
Huh.
So, that's my ghost story.
One of many.
We had a couple of questions here while you folks are around. Sarah Youssef wants to know, what is your view on paranormal tourism? Okay, that's a good question for us. We deal with it. What is a typical reaction of the other side in experiencing a constant flow of foreign people? You have, Cody, you guys have much more conversations about those type of things. We ask them once in a while, like, are you sick of people being here? And we've never had anybody say no, but I don't know.
Well, the spirits at the house, at least here, we've asked about it, and they've expressed when they're happy somebody's here, when they're not happy somebody's here, or they tell us oftentimes that they're preparing before we do tours and things, and we're like, what are you preparing for? And they're like, we're preparing for the people. So they're used to the schedule by now, and it's like they're getting everything ready in their worlds for everything. It's almost like they think that we can see everything they can, so they're preparing the house almost, which is actually quite fun to hear, like Abigail running by, and she's like, I can't talk, I'm preparing. It's like, okay, I'm sorry.
We got plans to work on here.
You get the stiff arm.
Yeah, she's like, I'm busy. That's what she says. She says she's busy a lot. So
my opinion with this house is, they really love this house a lot, and a lot of times they like showing it off to people, and that may not be the same with every location. If you look at like hospitals and asylums and stuff like that, that might the people that are there may have a totally different opinion on people coming in all the time. So at least with this location, they seem pretty content. They're very happy. From what I understand, that the story has been corrected, because a lot of the spirits that are in this house have had rumors made about them as well. So them knowing that has been corrected makes them feel a lot better and more welcoming to people learning about the real story rather than the fiction one.
Yeah. And how about the idea of, we did a whole show on this, with a little bit of controversy, the idea of paranormal tourism. I think it's like anything else. I think there's room for all of it. It's just some are good, some are bad.
Right.
If you repeat bad information, myths, like if you're still going in there and they're talking about Bathsheba, the witch, that's bad information. You're already starting off under a bad premise. But if it's good information, it doesn't have to be spooky, but there's entertainment involved in it. You got to be engaging with people.
Yeah.
You can't just be monotone. you got to act like you're into it, because then you take people along with you, and there's good and bad. And it's the same way down in Florida, George. You've got, I think, probably more than we do. You know, the old jail and the trolley tours and things like that. And they're reciting the same script, but it all starts with good information. You'd probably agree with that, right?
Well, it's I'll answer that with a question for all of you who have been to the Conjuring House, which is everyone else on this panel but me. This is something that we've talked about in the past, that is a potential situation, and I wonder, using the metaphor of the dust settling, is all the people coming in prior to the setup that Jacqueline has now created, where it's a more serene environment with the spirits. It's a more synchronized and symbiotic relationship. But one person after another, Barry Fitzgerald had a great discussion about this with us, and it's regards to manifesting. When people are going in there looking for this negativity, naming this negativity, are they creating this negativity? And over time, if that negativity is not paid attention to, does it begin to dissipate? Does it begin to shrink and disappear, or does it continue to linger?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, at least with the house, when everyone walks in for a tour, everyone gets a set of rules, and one of the rules is that we say is the biggest rule is no provoking, because we're firm believers that whatever energy you give to the house gives back to you. And we also make a joke, we also have to live here. So if you piss something off, we're the ones who have to deal with it when you go home. And that's really one of the biggest rules. When people have their free time to walk around the house, we're monitoring that they're not stirring something up. And it's in the rules for overnight investigations and everything. So I think if people were to keep coming in here and we didn't have that rule, and they kept calling on something negative and bad, then of course, that's going to come out. I think the Philip experiment was definitely real. I definitely, subscribe to what they found with that. And I think you can definitely manifest negative energy as well as positive energy. So if the more good energy the house gets, the better the environment is. I think most of the spirits, 95% of them in the house are just people like you or I that are just happy to be there still and interact with guests. And I think if that was to change by living people's attitudes, the spirit attitudes would change as well.
So if, for all of you, same question, people continue to come to the Conjuring House, Cody and Satori have to take some time off because they're filming or they're doing conventions, whatever situation. So other people take up the reins. Now there's a group that come in, and there's a roaming little rumor of a spirit called Carrie the Carnivore. And they start bringing that up at every investigation. Does that manifest? And would you guys potentially, returning back, start doing your communication, and all of a sudden there's a Carrie the Carnivore who wasn't there before? Is it that easy for that kind of energy to be created?
I think it's possible. I'm not sure if it's easy, but I think over time you could create something, because I think not necessarily you made the exact thing into existence, but there could be something there that would like the energy that comes off of being recognized like that. And it could.
Wow.
The only way that I see that you create a tulpa, for lack of a better word, a consciousness, is it's got to be repeatable. And a lot of times people aren't there every night. They may come twice a year. How it can be created is if you create a system of like-minded people, and they look what you do, and they take the same approach and call it the same thing. The witch, the witch, the witch, the witch. Time after time after time. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same person, but once it's repeatable and everybody latches onto it, and no matter who comes in there, then I think you've got a possibility of creating something in the physical world. But like Tori says, it's not easy, but it's got to be this constant barrage of things. And to some degree, I don't know what, because I didn't spend a lot of time.
We were talking, Bernie.
What? Bean? Jeez. I'm sorry.
Bring in an exorcist. What the hell was that?
Yeah, Jesus.
Speaking of which, so Ken,
freaking holy water for the dog.
Could not, and funny you bring that up, but could not what answer you just gave be the definition of prayer?
Definition of what?
Prayer.
Oh,
falls under the same category. Energy, repeated, manifests.
Yeah, but again, it has to be
evil.
But it leads me to the point. Before Bean started yelling at me, what I was going to say was that when people come in there doing this type of thing, I can't prove it, but I think the Conjuring House before, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I think there was a bit more of an emphasis on that, and I think people were able to roam it indiscriminately. There was no guardrails. So somebody sees something on a video, they go, let me take a shot at it, they repeat it. This way the witch thing comes in and all the rest of this.
Yep.
And I think some of the activity or the level or the nature of the activity in the house back then probably either had something to do with that, bringing something in, or just upsetting very much who was there. And those spirits became defensive, and it's interpreted. They're evil. They threw something at me. It's like, I don't blame them. I can't get your attention either way, stop that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I mean about, it's taken a big turn now. And it never had to be the other way. And I'm not holding anybody's feet to the fire or being critical at all. I'm just saying that's the way it was. But it doesn't have to be that way because the house is active anyway.
Well, the funny thing is,
that's the thing that I can't wrap my head around. It, like the other stuff is, honest to God, not needed. You may need it to have more clicks because you were chased by a demon. But if you just look at it from 10,000 feet, there's just so much going on there.
Well, I think too is that Rise Up was in the house many, many years before the movie ever came out, and we confirmed it was active. And for us to catch the clip of Find Me, finding out that was the spirit Henry playing hide and seek with Andrea's younger sister, and that was in the book. But since then, all the stuff is all about the movie. But when we were there 12 years ago now, it was all positive, other than the guy who screamed "Hey" in Ken's ear. But it was positive. You didn't have a Bathsheba. You didn't have all the stuff in the house and all the crap that's out there now on YouTube.
Had a Norma.
All based upon the movie. Nothing happened like that before the movie.
Yeah,
I know.
We had a Norma. We didn't have anybody else.
Yeah.
Well, the sad thing is because we're here in the house all the time, and I think talking to spirits gives us a perspective in it too, because it's like, well, everybody comes in expecting demons and witches and all these things and sacrifices and all that, and like they're freaking out on things, and then we're in the next room over and Abigail's coming through, Abigail Arnold, and she's like, no, I don't know what they're going on about. I'm just going and do whatever I do. And the scariest thing in there is Abigail with her pear trees. Like, if you're terrified of spirits, like that's So I think these are real people that had real lives, and they're joking with us. They're telling us their stories. They're telling, giving us warnings, about like things they see, but we don't. Like, watch out for my candle that I put on the table, and it's like there's no candle there. So it's like you're just interacting in their world. It's not.
But they've also brought up
tick in your bed?
Yeah, there's a tick in your
I woke
bed.
up. They said there's a tick in your bed, and I woke up and there was in fact a tick from camping the night before in the bed. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
But they remember the bad guests that have been there over the years, like the ones imitating the dog or the cat crawling up the stairs.
Yeah.
They actually brought that up in a session. And like, so they're completely aware of what's going on.
Oh yeah.
And not being happy about it.
I have to ask all of you, and you'll have different answers because of the different ages, but do you think in our lifetime we will escape these dark ages where everything has to be villainous and everything has to be malevolent, and realize just how freaking cool it is that we could have open dialogue with the other side, and if we work towards that it'll become, as it's been exampled at Pain House, more and more frequent, and it could continue to be that way. How far do we have to go yet before we get out of the social media brainwash of what this field is supposed to be?
Oof.
I don't know, because I hate to say it, but most people my age or younger are into the fear side of things, and it's not looking like it's going to change anytime soon in that end. We're trying our best, but it's not doing so much.
You can get a lot of too when people, find out that there aren't demons on the property. Sometimes you get like and it's like, but it.
I know when I say there was no Bathsheba the witch, everyone's like, oh, like they're upset.
It's like,
I'm like,
it's like, take it in for what it is. Like, there's so much here. It's living history, and if you just remove head from rear for a minute, and the magic of it has nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah.
But again, that's what's
interesting. I've done. I've hosted some overnights here, and I asked a group while we were all eating pizza or something one night. I said, you had preconceived ideas coming in the house. And they're like, yep. I said, are they what you thought they are? How do you feel now compared to how you thought you were going to feel? And they said completely different. It was all positive. It's calming. They love the house. Yeah. So they have preconceived ideas based upon a movie and a bunch of friggin' idiots who think, I'm going to get attention. I'm going to get my clicks because I'm going to scare people. If you look at anything, you look at like the Conjuring House or the Shanley Hotel, you look at all the YouTube, they all have fear on their face. Shanley, I can understand maybe a little more. It's a little weirder there than maybe the Conjuring House, but I've been to the Conjuring House many times over many years, and it's the most positive place I've ever been. But tell somebody who's coming there, who's a YouTuber, who puts out this incredibly stupid video that gets a lot of clicks, and it's about their attention. Look at me. Look at the crazy things that I created by myself because it didn't happen to get the attention.
Yeah.
It's a me generation. It's a competition where you have older people and older groups like Rise Up, where we just go in based on historical information. Cody and Satori, it's all positive. It's historical. We don't need to make anything up. We have tons of stuff we've captured there.
Kind of the way I look at it, George, is, when you're talking about stories don't necessarily have to be true, right? If you're telling a story, every story needs a protagonist, right? You need a hero, you need a villain, you need all of those things in order to make a good story. So, and that's been around forever. So on some level, I don't think we ever lose that. The delivery system's different now because now we got social media. We got Twitter and TikTok and Facebook. So now it reaches a gazillion people. But the idea of stories being told and making up an ogre, making up a villain, a fire-breathing dragon, now the fire-breathing dragon becomes a non-existent witch in Harrisville, Rhode Island.
Right.
Fear sells, and that's what it comes down to.
But that's the shame of it, because it's anti-productive. It's anti-productive from a field perspective, because people go in there and, oh my God, there's a demon attacking me. Let's cut off this investigation. Now I got a great story to tell when I go somewhere else. I come in, I have a wonderful, glorious connection to the spirits at the farmhouse, and I can go back and visit them anytime. you still have a glorious story, but you've got continuity. I don't understand why go in the negative direction when there's so much more to benefit and obtain from keeping a great dialogue with great context on the other side. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's a character flaw because people need that attention.
What's
I had a
the story?
wonderful time. The spirits treated me very well, and everybody's going to look at me like. Now, if I say, I knocked over a chair because I had to jump out the window because a demon came, tell me more. Tell me more. It's just a character flaw.
I was going to say it's starting to get very repetitive now. These demon and the evil and the fear is starting to get so repetitive. Wouldn't you think it would make a better decision to be different if you were to even take the approach of maybe it's an enlightenment experience? Maybe it's like a gaining this higher consciousness, this higher understanding. Like now it's just getting so repetitive with this fear factor. It's kind of getting annoying. So I think that approach would be better, and I think it would get more results anyway.
I'm switching to aliens.
I have.
Oh God.
I have a question in chat here that I can't answer while we're on this subject, so I'm going to have to let the five of you answer this. I can't answer this because, as you know, the first time I saw the movie was last week. When I came, and apparently that got back to Andrea. She called me today about the show tomorrow, and she says, "So I understand it's the first time you saw the movie," and I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Who ran it? Somebody dime me out. I'll find you. Anyway, this question comes from chat. You're going to have to answer this for me. I'm staying away from this. And the question is, if Ken was portrayed in the Conjuring House movie, who would it be?
The cop.
I was thinking too.
I don't think they're saying. I don't think Sarah, you can clarify it, Sarah. I don't think you're asking who would play me, but like who do I resemble in the movie?
The cop.
No, I just think remember that part where the cop's sitting down at the table and the door slams shut and then he's like, I think it was a draft. Like that's I think Ken would be the logical thinker that sits there and says something like that.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I thought you were going to say maybe he was the guy who was ripping the floor up to save one of the doors. No.
It was the Harrison.
She meant what actor would play me?
What actor?
Ooh.
Oh, okay. I mean, Bradley Cooper.
No.
Can't be worse than what I've seen.
No.
Like if Patrick, whatever his name, can play Ed Warren, Bradley Cooper can play me.
We'll let you have it.
John Malkovich.
John Malkovich, really?
Yes, that would be you.
I thought more like Christopher Walken, maybe.
That would
That's a good one.
Christopher Walken. That'd be
Christopher Walken.
Wow.
Harrison Ford with facial hair.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Be careful. What do you got? Oh, have you guys ever encountered someone or something that pretending to be someone else? A doppelganger or pretending to be someone else from the history of the building. Oh, okay. So we're limited because I don't think that's ever happened to me. History of I guess we're talking about Conjuring House. So
I was going to say, not at the Conjuring House, but I have had one case where we were at a hotel that my family used to own, and we heard my dad calling to us from another floor, and it was not my dad. And that was a really freaky experience because he said our names. He was like, Tori, Haley.
I think one of your sisters saw him as well down the end of the hall. And then they ran downstairs and your dad was waiting there.
I had my dad call me our names and he was not there too, which was really freaky. But nothing at the house. Nothing at this house.
You sure it wasn't a stunt double or something like that?
No.
Question here: with all the data captured during the years, have you reached any theories or conclusions? I would say, Sarah, that all our theories and conclusions are nonsense. That is the theory and conclusion that I've reached at this point, I think. I don't know.
I have more questions than I started.
Still trying to figure it out.
Well, and if we had all the answers, what the hell would any of us be doing? We'd all like need a new hobby or something, or a new job. I mean, I don't want to know them all because then I'd have to find something else to fall in love with.
And of course, there's always some clown. Ken could play the Gorton Fisherman. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I have never heard that one before.
I think I remember seeing that commercial. Like, God, that looks like Ken. That does ring a bell.
We'll dress up like that for Halloween.
That is your Halloween costume.
Yep.
It almost didn't, because the other day I was in the shower. I'm using shampoo, right? It says purple shampoo or something or other.
Why are you using
shampoo? It's on my hair. My wife comes screaming out of the bathroom. Your hair is purple. I says, well, I use that for the dyed hair and stuff. So my hair was very slowly turning purple. I mean, I was wearing hats. You think I wear hats a lot now?
I'm going to be checking for that purple at breakfast in the morning.
Sandy Andrews, Ken, where are your fishing overalls? I would tell you where they were, Sandy, but Can you make good fish? Oh, we're doing a thing here now.
Can of worms.
Yes, I can.
I bet you can.
Yep.
Dumb question. Like the other ones weren't, but this one's a dumb question. Where do you guys live? That's actually a sane question. I live in a little town called Tiverton, Rhode Island. It's near the water.
Yeah, and I live in Middleborough. I live in Middleborough, Mass, which is sort of at the entrance of Cape Cod.
The Conjuring House and Warwick, Rhode Island.
St. Augustine, Florida.
Warwickville.
Mass when I'm not in Harrisville.
Florida.
Florida.
All he's gonna give.
Florida. Shelly, where do you live? Shelly. Pop in there. Where do you live?
Roll call for everyone's current location.
I know. Please provide address.
Oh, that was connected to the fish question.
Oh.
I should have gone for Arizona. I knew it. I could have ended all of this, but no. No, I live next to the water, and I do fish. I love to fish. I love to play golf. Oh, Shelly's in Colorado.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I love Colorado.
Yeah, man, Colorado.
Time together.
Whole place.
For echoing.
Colorado, man.
Stanley Hotel.
All right, so you guys watched the UAP thing yesterday?
We watched parts of it for sure, yeah.
Yes.
We saw the highlights of it, which was very, I don't know.
Unilluminating.
Yeah.
I
was like,
thought
duh.
it was kind of cool. I just love how everyone is by
A
it.
guy
Like, it's
told me that a guy told him that another guy told him that somebody got whacked. I immediately thought of Bill. It's like, Bill, they're whacking people.
God.
They're killing people over UFOs, Bill. You could be on the list. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
I think a lot of it was absolutely true, but like, what's new? Like, we all knew. Like,
it's like a duh.
It was like so unimpressive. We were all like, okay,
like,
and
welcome to our side of things. You got some catching up to do now.
Welcome to Earth 2023. Like, okay, aliens, and like we were expecting more.
It had about as much impact as when they had those meetings back in the 1950s, and they had government meetings about it. They didn't divulge anything. There was a lot more excuses back then. They're not using weather balloons anymore, but there was nothing accomplished. The only cool part is that it's reaching the highest levels of government, and then the people that run the highest levels of government are saying they can't even have access to the secure information. So
that's correct, and that's all I'm
My
going to say.
obvious question is, I will tell you in closed session or in a skiff.
Yeah.
So they tell them in a closed session or a skiff.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that information go if it's considered part of the intelligence department considers it part of national security.
Redacted,
so now all the
redacted.
congressmen know everything. We've got aliens. They're in the back over here. They're at the Conjuring House. They're in a barn. They're going to be in a museum.
Probably.
There's one right here.
That's what's actually going on. There's aliens.
So yeah, we found out what agencies are involved. We got names. Yeah, well, as according to him, we can't tell you though. So where are we? Where are we?
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to keep everybody on forever and ever and ever. We figure we pop in here. I need to know, because I'm a needy person in chat, if you want to do this every couple of weeks and just come in here and just kind of goof around a little bit. I can't speak for the rest of them. I don't have any life, so.
You're expecting them to say no? Why would they say no? They're going to say yes.
If they say no, then that's it. You follow the money on that.
All right, we have to go and work because there's people.
Wait a minute. We got a yes. We got a yes. We got a absolutely. We got a yes, definitely. I think it's unanimous. Geez. Oh, please. Yeah. Okay, we'll be back. That's it.
Maybe. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go get back to work, but it was great to talk to you guys.
And I got to take Pop into his bed so he can get some rest. So good. God bless everybody. Thank you. Good to see you.
All right. Very good. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. This was a lot of fun. And next time we're on here, we want to hear a little bit about your own experiences and what you think about things. But until then, thank you, Cody, Satori, Erin, Julie, George. This has been just another paranormal podcast.
Say bye.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night, guys.